glass plate was done on the fiber laser, and you can see it's going to be hard to focus, but you can see that in the center, all I did was increase the spacing between the lines, and then actually did a crosshatch, and came out looking pretty cool. I'm also going to show you the fiber laser engraving under the microscope, so you can see exactly how it looks, but it looks very close to the UV. It's hard to tell them apart. So in the description, I have exactly what you need to get started. Less than a $50 investment, and you'll be good to go. First thing, Harbor Freight, or there's an Amazon link for a cheap HVLP paint sprayer. So if you have an air compressor, one of these will do you just fine. That can be had for about $15. If you want to invest in a little starter airbrush kit, those are about $20. It's just a basic little airbrush. It comes with an attachment so you can hook it into a compressor, or you can use it with a tiny airbrush compressor, but I'm using it with my regular air compressor. Just tied in with some adapters and line. What I was hoping would work, and I'm pleasantly surprised and also pleased to report that this little battery powered airbrush, this designed for makeup, works great. It worked just fine. Achieved the same results, same coating on the glass, and that's all you need. That runs about $50. Some temporary paint. This is Hobby Lobby. You can see $4 for this big container. That's 32 ounces. You can pick up Prang brand at Dollar Tree, $1 a bottle. And I picked some up, even though it was more expensive. But the Crayola is $1 a bottle as well, but you don't get very much for that dollar. So if this is all you can get, great. If not, skip it and get the Prang or something else. So I needed a way to mix these up. I wanted to show you or provide you the ratio of paint to water to make it sprayable through these sprayers with a nice coating. So I just printed out a little measuring cup. So I'm going to put some paint in here and some water, mix it up, dump it in these three, and do an example and show you exactly how they work. So, just like at school, you can write this down. For this battery-powered sprayer right here, this is a 3-to-2 ratio. So 3 parts paint, 2 parts water. For the air compressor versions, whether it's the little airbrush or the HVLP sprayer, it is a 3-to-1. So this is a little more thinned out, and it works well with this battery one. And this one obviously will remain a little thicker, but they all work. Let's see. So for 3-to-1, I'm going to do 75 ml. I use clear PLA so you can see through it. Let's see where I was measuring. And I'll just dump that into 100. Everything going okay on stream?
Yeah, just
I
trying to
hope.
figure out how to make the video a little bit better, but we're also running on the fly, so it's what it is.
Yeah, this is better than nothing. As long as they can hear me well, that is the main thing.
Yeah, your audio is great. I'm just trying to figure out how to make the video quality a little bit better on stream. It's just not streaming what I want it to stream. I mean, we're streaming 30 frames per second. We've only dropped 0.1% of frames so far, so it is what it is. Everybody
Okay.
else says stream is fine, so we're good.
All right. So for 3-2 ratio, it'll be up to the 75 again with the paint. Let's see. You can probably see those markings now. So there's 75, and then I'll fill it to 125 with water. And then, let's see, let me get that frame. All right, so there's the two mixtures. Then, of course, ideally, these would be in a bottle that you can shake up. I'm going to pour these in off camera so that I don't make a huge mess. But yeah, the 3-1, that's obviously thinned out.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being a stream quality snob. Everybody else is fine, looks good. It is what it is, I guess. We're running on the
Well, it's better than
fly.
what it was, so
Man, I just installed OBS and we set
take the
everything
win.
up literally like 20 minutes ago, so everything's good.
All right, so we can start with our HVLP. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get paint all over it. Leave that there. Figured the black would add some nice contrast when we're looking at the actual engravings. And this one's also the same ratios. I'm going to fill this up. I'll just get both of them at the same time. So what is nice about the uh, beginner airbrush kit versus this HV or versus the battery powered one, the battery powered one, you don't have a way to seal that up once you put it in the container. By seal it up, I mean to keep it from running out if it's disconnected from the spray gun. Whereas the little airbrush starter kit has these little bottles, and I'll show you a close up. Those bottles don't leak from the bottom. They will from the top, but not the bottom. Where these guys, obviously you need a hole in the top so that the paint can suck through, keep the pressure equal, but then that's also hollow as well, so they will leak. So here's HVLP with some paint in it. Little airbrush kit, and this is just a friction fit right into the airbrush, just like that. So even though these do leak when they're attached, or not attached, once you screw them in here and put your paint in and keep it upright, it will not leak out.
Is that PTFE tubing in the air supply paint?
For this one,
No, the blue.
uh,
It just looks like 3D printer PTFE tubing, so
yeah, no, it's not. It's just your standard polyethylene airline,
nice.
just standard size.
LA Hobby donated
All right.
$10, by the way.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, there is a little thanks button and a donate button. That's awesome.
I
All
watch
right. So
chat on my
there's
phone, so
so the one common thing between this and this is the airline. You need airline, right? And look at this. This has an airline. The beautiful thing about this little battery operated sprayer is you can just bypass the airline and screw this little air compressor, which is battery powered and USB rechargeable. You can see the USB-C. You just screw it right to the top, and there you go. So you don't need a big air compressor. You don't need a little air compressor. That's all you need. And you don't need to mess with an air hose. That was my favorite part about that guy. Just get this stuck in there. There's those two. Then I have my main airline right here. All right. I've got it set at 50 psi. That's 50. Then I have an additional knob right there. So it's now set to max. So this is ready to spray. And I'm just going to give you a quick demo here, hopefully. Luckily, this is temporary. Whenever you buy it, make sure it says washable. But you basically just want to.
Make sure it says
What's that?
You cut out what? Make sure it says what?
Make sure it says washable.
Washable. Got it.
And then you just spray your glass or plate or whatever you have. And so you get a nice even coating. Don't make it put too much on it that it starts to run. Let it dry, set in the sun, use a heat gun, whatever you want to do, until you get to this point where you can't see through it. The more even coating you get, the better. With store-bought glass that's like this, or the plates, if you're going to engrave where they had this adhesive sticker, make sure you clean all that adhesive off. Alcohol, remove all the residue, rub it until you don't see any left. Otherwise, it'll cause the paint not to stick, and it can be frustrating. The glasses, but I prefer to do is actually set them down like this and then spray from this angle. And then, of course, your sprayer will have an adjustment, so you can adjust the flow rate of paint through the sprayer. I'm not going to take all the time to coat all these because I've already delayed enough. Let me turn this off. That just shows you how to use that one. Pop that out. Turn that off. I'm trying to hurry. Did anybody ask any questions yet?
I haven't seen any specific questions. They're just Rick joined up and Ellie Hobby Guy was talking about if you're enjoying it, buy Patrick a coffee or a beer, PayPal link. Yeah, everybody's just kind of joining and saying what's up.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so right now I actually moved from Alaska to Illinois. And I'm kind of in limbo right now. Our stuff is supposed to be here supposedly next week. May or may not be here actually next week.
You still don't have all your stuff yet?
Huh. No, we're in a extremely empty house right now. We're trying to make ends meet and just do what we're doing. Luckily, I'm also 2 hours away from my hometown. So tomorrow we're going to travel to my mom's house and we're going to be there for the weekend and actually have like things to do and people to see. But while we're here, and we're also down to one vehicle right now. When they were shipping my truck here from Alaska to Illinois, they messed it up. Traction control, power steering, and something else. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly they did. The shipping company said they're not responsible, so I called my insurance company. The insurance company's picking up the bill, which is amazing. I don't have to come out $3,000 out of pocket, which is great because that was business money that we're trying to do stuff with for the business. But I called it the Green Bastard, the little CO2 laser that I had up there in Alaska. I sold it up there and I'm trying to buy a bigger laser. Actually, I already purchased it. It's on the way, probably on a boat somewhere. So it'll be here hopefully by the end of July. We'll see. But
Hopefully.
hopefully the others, yeah, hopefully. And the other stuff should be here by the end of June. The required delivery date for all of our personal belongings is July 6th. I think I checked yesterday.
There
But
you go.
the actual delivery should hopefully be next week. We'll see. Everything's kind of up in the air right now.
But for this little airbrush kit, you just got to find the magic adjustment right here on the nozzle until you get it coming out real nice. But this produces, I mean, for $20, this produces a really nice spray, and I like it better than the HVLP gun. So if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely go with this little guy. But as you can see, it's putting out a really nice even spray with that same 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, a little spray gun's doing a number on that. I like it.
Yeah, so oops. Yeah, you can see how much it's putting out. So on a flat surface or with this laying down, you can get a really nice even coating. So there's that one. All right, so we've demonstrated that that one works. Now let's demonstrate the battery one, which is my favorite. It has two settings. For when you first turn it on, it's on high, and then if you hit it again, it's on low. Third press turns it back off. So then it's just like the other one. You push this, and it should get some paint coming out. All right, I didn't have that first batch mixed up very well, and this one probably still isn't mixed up perfectly, but I just want you to see, hopefully you can see that start to come through.
Yes,
There, it's getting better. There we go.
I see it as it's going. Army Dog Creations. I did 8 years active duty Army and 11 years Army Reserves. Thank you for your service as well. HTL Holsters. Was
Hey,
the mileage the same? Joyride. Yes, Joyride. They put 1.9 miles on my truck somehow.
so this black that I did here on this cup was all done with that air sprayer. I did that, I got around to it yesterday. Uh, but it put on a nice even coating. So you just make sure you have it mixed up real well and have the mixture right. But we'll get to start closing that gap off there. Yeah, it's getting there. I think
There we
I
go.
probably clogged it up
All right,
by not having it
now
right.
so minimize. Hopefully that'll make it better. All right, there we go. Yep.
So what I've also discovered is if you do a light coat and just kind of just give it a few seconds to start to spread out and self level, then hit it with a heat gun, then do a second coat, and you can get a nice heavy coating that you definitely can't see through. But in the interest of time, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do this and see how it turns out. Anybody have any questions yet? If you have questions, type them in the comments.
Questions for me, but no questions for the application process yet.
Very good.
DV Laserworks says a hairdryer works in a pinch.
Yes, we use the other yellow thing. So it'll go from shiny to matte, and that's when you'll know that it's drying out, and you'll be able to see the dryness spreading across the paint. So you can see the reflection on the surface, so you can see all the moisture to that. That's a better view.
I didn't like the heat gun that I bought from Home Depot, but the one that I bought from Harbor Freight worked amazing. Harbor Freight is amazing for especially like small projects like this. Not not necessarily small, but like things you're gonna do few and far between. Or even if you're doing this all the time, I'm pretty sure they got like a year of warranty. You paid $40, $35 or whatever it is for I think they even have two levels for heat. And if it goes bad within the first year, you just you bring it back to them, and they just trade it out. Love Harbor Freight for stuff like that.
Heck yeah, me too. I mean, I've had this, obviously, that's Harbor Freight. I've had that thing forever. You just clean it out and keep using it.
Heck yeah. I actually
Okay,
went. Sorry.
this is dry enough. I'm going to grab this mug and then we'll do some tests on the laser.
Rick says Harbor
All right.
Freight has a lot of stuff that most don't on a budget. Absolutely. If you're trying to do things and you need it cheap, Harbor Freight's the way to go.
Hey, and a lot of their stuff is getting better too. If I don't know if you any of you guys watch and subscribe to the Torque Test channel, but they have tested their Hercules impacts and they perform as well as the DeWalt's and Milwaukee's.
Yeah, I tried to set up a mostly printed CNC in Alaska. That didn't go as well as I planned, so I'm planning on doing it down here at least. But it was like a Makita router equivalent from them, and that thing was amazing. Like it worked as well as a Makita. I tested it out obviously beforehand. Yeah, their stuff is, I'm not gonna say top notch because like obviously Makita and everything else would be top notch, but like I would say above mid tier for their stuff.
All right, I have my 80-watt JPT with a 200 millimeter lens. So that's what I'm going to be doing these tests for. And this really is a team effort because Tyler's here with me now, and Geo did some conversions for you folks out there. So if you don't have an 80-watt JPT, I have some settings for a 50-watt Racus, I think a 50-watt JPT, and a 30-watt Racus. So you'll be good to go. I did the exact settings from his conversion with my 50-watt Racus, and it was perfect. And I can show you that actually. So right here is the Racus 50 watt, 175, and those are the exact settings that I used. Under the microscope, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, Geo was amazing. Once we get his calculator 100% online, pretty sure that's the only thing you'll ever need.
I'm going to flip over to the laser cam and show you. I'm going to just get this in focus. This is the exact piece of glass I just sprayed. So there's no camera tricks, no tomfoolery going on here.
Jack in the Shop
And
says, what about the 100-watt JPT? Like I said, as Geo gets his stuff online, then we do the
no,
conversion process. No?
no, we can't do conversions for those.
Oh, not the 100-watt. Sorry.
That's illegal in North Carolina, so we cannot do that.
Yes. North
Were you aware of
Carolina
that?
things. I was not, but yes, North Carolina,
Yeah.
terrible state. Can confirm. Been through there quite a few times. But also, once Geo gets his conversion online, we may be able to make an exception.
Okay.
HTL
So there's the
holsters.
Racus.
Sorry, HTL holsters. Yes, Geo had me do some settings on glass, and that first shot worked great. Yes.
I gave him my setting, gave Gio my settings. I said, "Can you convert this for Jeremy's laser?" And got those settings to Jeremy, and right off the bat worked first try. And the crazy thing is, you wouldn't guess these settings, not at all. Geo's calculator is a work in progress. It's getting close to being complete, and when it does, it will change the way settings are converted forever. See this setting here for the Racus? That was converted from this setting that I'm going to run right now. The speed went from 225 to 40, power at 26 instead of 80, frequency at 100 instead of 500. And then I had a Q pulse of 50, and of course that's 200 on the Regus. And the line distance actually stayed the same. It produced that result that I just showed you that under the microscope looks almost identical to the UV. However,
Norris
we are going,
Brothers Farm says, where do we find this information from Geo? It is pending, like Patrick said. I would say within the next month it should be online, ready to go. I don't know if he's going to release it publicly or privately first. I'm going to help him with his initial conversion. We're trying to do JavaScript, hopefully. He's got everything, I think, in Excel, right, Patrick? Right now?
Yes.
So Excel and Vince Nobuck says, what about 30 watt? Basically anything with any lens. I'm pretty sure he's got everything converted for every type of laser source right now that exists. And if not, he probably will. He knows way more about lasers than I ever will, like from a technical standpoint. So if it doesn't exist now, it will exist in the future, like the very near future. And as soon as we get it converted to JavaScript from Excel, it will exist online at some point. And LA Hobby Guy shared a link to Geo's YouTube Maker Theory. Yes, Maker Theory is Geo's YouTube channel as of right now. And that also will be his YouTube once he releases everything. Like I said, I don't know if he'll release it free or Patreon. I don't know. But if I know Geo, it will be readily available.
All right, let's frame this thing up, and then I'm going to run this, and then I'm going to switch to the Rakist and run it on the Rakist, and then I'm going to run it on the UV, and we can compare the three, just so you guys see that this is doable on more expensive fiber laser source, the 80 watt JPT C series, or the Rakist 50 watt. The Rakist is perfectly capable of doing almost everything I do. All right, so let me go to, let's see, let's try this camera angle. Hopefully that looks in focus to everyone. If not, I can fine tune that. I believe that red dot looks good from there. And frame, I don't want to make it too big, so we're going to do 3 different spots. That should be good right there. I do like to have some airflow running. So I'm just going to pop on my air assist here and just run a low stream. Then I'm going to assign my fiber laser glass setting for my 200 lens. Again, it's a 200 lens 80 watt JPTC series. And here we go. Anybody have any questions? Come on, somebody's got to have one.
I don't see any questions as of yet.
And we are done. There. I'm going to put that camera on so you see, again, there is no trickery. I'll get a wet paper towel. Oops, not that wet. Jeez.
And during the magic of TV editing, here's your final product.
Yes, there's that.
LA Hobby Guy. What came first, the chicken or the egg? That's debatable.
And with some temporary paint, it's easy to take off.
Rick from DV Laserworks says that looks nice. Yes, it does. So I will say Patrick and Geo are the only two that I ever bounced laser settings off of. And everything that I've ever done has come out amazing. So follow Patrick, follow Geo, LA Hobby Guy. I've not done anything, I will say, from their spectrum, but yes.
You guys can see that, I think. So there's your fiber laser on glass with the 80 watt.
Patrick, you want to tell us where you get all of your Air Assist setups from?
Yeah, my air assist setups, let's see, I can show you. They're all right there in those yellow bins, ready to be sold to lucky customers who are smart enough to add my air assist kit to their laser engraving arsenal.
And where can they find that at?
www. Rich loves it when I do that. .lightsource.pro.
Lightsource.pro.
That is it.
I will say
Okay.
Patrick sent me his version 1 of his laser engraving assist, air assist. I did not install it as I had limited space, but after seeing some of his things that he's done, I regret not installing it.
Well, in version 2, you can mount anywhere on the bed. So the tube actually goes into the base. It's much more simplified, much more user friendly. All right. So we're at the Rakis 50 watt now.
Thank you, LA Hobby Guy, for providing the link. HCL holsters they came from Light Source Engraving. Yes, they did.
All right.
Hobo with
Turn this
Wood
guy on.
says the rooster came first. Debatable. We'll see. Where did the rooster come from then?
All right. Now you can watch me switch devices. So I'm going to switch to the 175 millimeter Rakis.
The Rakis is near
And,
and dear to my heart, I will say.
and all right, now I have the Rakis. And let me assign the Rakis setting because it is different glass, 50 watt Rakis. There we go. There it is. Same thing that's on your screen. Assign that to the blue layer, and I think it was already there. I'm going to frame that. I don't know if you guys know this in the latest version of Lightburn, but you can see it's live framing there. You hit page up, it will make your engraving bigger. If you hit page down, it will make it smaller, and it uses the same increments, I think, as your nudge settings. So that just made that engraving bigger. Now I'm going to nudge it and move it over. So you can do all that from your keyboard.
If only I had things to test this on right now.
All right, so my focal stick for this lens, need to come down just a little bit.
So DV Laser Works. I just did a whiskey bottle the other day on my CO2. That would have been nice to have seen this before. HCL holsters. I tried brown glass the other day, and the instant laser hit it. Explosion emoji. I'm assuming fire. Amazing. Army Dogs Creations. I would buy an air assist from Patrick, but I just spent $60 on something else today. Patrick's air assist is well worth your money. Trust me. ACL holsters as it wasn't a holster. Crying face.
A holster from HDL Holsters is also well worth your money.
Jack in the Shop says the Bible said every animal is made, did not say anything about making eggs. You're not wrong, but the egg came first. ACL Holster says his comment shattered. Yes, sure. Then LA Hobby Guy shared the exact link to the product. Well worth it. You've seen it here on live.
All right, and just to confirm, I will go back to previous camera that this is indeed 50 watt Rakis. There's the 80, there's the 50, so we're framed.
The brown glass shat red. I'm assuming shattered.
It's chat red.
Shat red with two T's. So between your JPT and the Rakis, which one do you prefer going to? Is it the one you originally started with, JPT?
Originally had a JPT 50 watt non-MOPA. Now I have the 80 watt MOPA, and I have a stack of 50 knives that I'm about halfway done doing for the Parksburg Police Department. I chose to do them on the Rakus because I'm much more comfortable with it still at this point. I know exactly what it's going to do, and that's what I used.
So when I first bought my Rakus, I don't want to say everybody gave me shit for buying the Rakus, but everybody gave me shit for buying the Rakus. I love it. I don't know if I'll switch back to a JPT when I eventually kill the Rakosaurus, because I know that like you can dial it into whatever you want. Like obviously not the MOPA settings like pulse width, everything else, like colors, but for what it's made for, if you're just engraving metal, it's amazing. I love it.
There hasn't been anything that I have not been able to do with it.
Yes. So if you're trying to figure out, if you're watching the stream, trying to figure out whether you want to buy a Rakus, buy a JPT, everybody's telling you to buy a JPT. If you can afford it, go for it. But if you can't afford a JPT source and the only thing you can afford is a Rakus, it's like I'm going to say at least a $500 to $1,000 difference depending on what you want to buy, you know, wattage wise. I will say $500 to $1,000. Patrick, agree?
It might need more than that.
Yeah, depending on what you want to buy, like as far
Yeah.
as like what you want to do.
If you're not worried about messing around with collars, then you don't really need it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to, let's see, camera 2. So you can see me take this off the laser. So there it is. Now let's clean the paint off.
LA hobby guy,
My,
I love the Rakus, but you can't get the colors of JVT. Yes, I agree. The Rakus is amazing for like what I would consider a fiber laser to do. Jack in the shop. I bought the 30
my,
watt Rakus, only had a short while, then upgraded a source of 100 watt JPT and a 48 volt power supply. But yeah, depending on what you want to do with your laser. But I've owned a 50 watt Rakus for a year, almost year and a half now, actually. And everything that I've needed my fiber laser to do has done extremely well.
I wouldn't go, I don't know, to anybody that's considering buying, I would not go below 50 watts. Because even if you think, well, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that, but then all of a sudden you decide to, let me dry this off with my irises so that it brightens up. Because, engraving on glass darkens under with water
I agree,
and
yes. 50
change like
watt,
slate.
50 watt minimum for a fiber laser, regardless of the
All right,
source.
there is a 50 watt Rakus on glass. Now, that looks great. What do you guys think? Think that looks good?
I don't see a difference.
I just heard a Discord beep. Oh, Geo is here.
Hey,
Oh,
how's it going?
We
Geo,
are live
what's
on
up, man?
stream, so you are too.
Oh, all right. Hello, everybody.
Hold on, talk one more time so make sure you're coming through.
All right.
Hello,
Yes.
everybody.
All right, Geo is here. Everybody can hear Geo.
All right. So here we have Rakus and versus JPT fiber lasers on glass. Now, I think I'll take this just a step further rather than just showing you on camera, at least
Light
that
hobby
particular
guy
camera.
says, I agree, I love my 20 watt, but it is slow. Yes. Rick and LA Hobby Guy both say, hey, Geo.
Hey, how's it going?
Rick is DV Laser Works.
Yep.
Sure,
I haven't seen Rick on the. Yeah, I haven't seen Rick on the Discord in a while. Hope he's doing well.
Yeah, we went a back door
Yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure we're on the stream, but we're here. We're in the microscope.
All right. It's kind of hard to see with that background.
You can still see it though.
But that is the 80 watt. And let's go over here to the Racus.
Rick says he's been doing well, been dealing with robotics in my company.
That sounds fun.
Conversion that may or may not be online within the next month or so, depending on how we do things.
Right. That's the goal. As you can see, Patrick's been testing for me.
I have. Can also do a quick run with the UV, and we can look at them both underneath the microscope and compare them, because the thumbnail says UV-like results with your fiber laser. It wouldn't be fair to say that and then not actually compare the two. So let me set up the UV real quick and run this UV laser. The UV does not need temporary paint, so I'm just going to wipe it off right below and run UV right below the 80 watt.
HTL holsters. Patrick, do you get any large chipping on the inside?
No, I do not. And that plate that I had and showed you, that was done on the back side, and it's totally smooth on the front. So the plate's smooth on the front and smooth on the back. You can wipe your hand across it and not risk getting glass shards.
Also, LA Hobby Guy Patrick also does private remote training. Yes, please contact Patrick if you have any issues doing your own things, and he will be able to hook you up with remote training.
So the big announcement for the channel that I was going to do with the fiber laser glass episode that I just decided to make a live stream because I just haven't had time to put an episode together is I do have a UV laser now. It's this one. It is from Haitian Laser. And so I've got a UV from Haitian, and then I've got the three newer laser galvos, the two fibers, and the CO2. That is Pascal, and Jeff Stockton represents them, and Chris Wilkie. If you guys know those two, those are the guys that deal with those lasers.
Let's see, Rick says, did anyone get any ads on this live stream? I am not getting any ads.
Oh, it might have set up. It might be set up to do mid-roll ads. Sorry about that. If so,
HTL holsters, I love doing PMags. Yes, PMags are awesome. Rick also says, I love PMags and 2A mags. Yes. HTL holsters, I had one spot on that jar. Did you help him out with a jar?
he did his first. The first thing he did with his fiber laser was a glass jar.
Because he had one spot on the jar.
The ads benefit me and the channel, so if you can put up with them, I appreciate it.
It's Patrick, it's a whole 2 cents.
Yep.
So if you get ads, that helps Patrick out pay for his daughter's dance recitals or his daughter's, what is it, rugby.
No, it actually helps pay for all this stupid glass that I went through doing these tests.
That too. Yeah, I actually noticed so like when I first started doing like glass things, was like, oh yeah, those like glass the thing you're doing on right now, like the square. I'm like, yeah, those can't be too much. You can buy them at freaking Home Depot or Lowe's. Those are expensive, that I noted. But I know like people use them for construction to build walls.
Yeah, like I bought a bunch of these glasses to test on this type, and I was actually tested cylinder correction with the fiber and was able to get that graphic come out pretty well. Let me switch cameras and I'll show you. So that was done with the fiber laser. Which brings me to a good point. Here's another tip. If you are doing round uh, engraving on a glass like this, put some metal inside. That's what I did. I ended up cutting, I think I used a Coke can and just had it on the inside so that the beam wouldn't go through and then make any marks on the backside, on the inside. I did have that happen where I had some paint overspray and it actually left a couple marks where the paint was on the backside. All right. So this UV is ready. I'll go ahead and run.
Rick says 2A mags, you can get a white-ish color. Yes. And then regarding the ads, no worries, I was not expecting. Pay for a new laser. Brandon Terry says it's not a problem. Or rather, Patrick get his 0.0001 cents, then block them. LA Hobby Guy says you can get cheap glasses at the Dollar Tree for testing. And then Rick says Dollar Tree is the best for glass. The cheaper, the better. Absolutely. On that note, I'm going to go pour another drink.
And there's the UV.
Lord,
So
UV is amazing.
UV, fiber, fiber. Look. Let me get the better lighting here.
I'm really impressed on how well the fiber turns out with that paint compared to the UV.
And this is where it will be handy to have a black background in there. UV has a little more pop. However, the fiber is perfectly acceptable. It's better than a CO2 galvo and better than a CO2 gantry. So I was considering switching to doing all the glass awards that I was doing on the fiber laser until I got the UV. And then obviously I went with the UV. However, I was going to go with the fiber. And I still consider it for an area that's bigger than the 150 lens on the UV. I would use the fiber. So if I was doing a 12 by 12, I'd use a 300 lens on the fiber. Let's look at the UV under the microscope. There. Now I should have a better background. Actually, before I go to the microscope, let's go to this.
Harvey Dog's asking if Noah has any plans on coming out with a UV Galvo. Do you know, Patrick?
They do have a 5-watt UV available. Okay, so there's naked eye comparing UV and fiber.
Jack in the shop says, sorry guys, getting late, gotta run, early morning coming. Appreciate you tuning in, Jack in the shop.
Yes. Better late than never. All right, this is the W after the 80 on the fiber. So there's the 0 and the W. Now we're going to head to the UV. There's the UV. You can see that is the 5. On the 5-watt. So there's the W.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, but there's not like that big of a difference.
Now, and my timing is not dialed in perfect on the UV. So that could make it better. Timing on the 80-watt is dialed in. Much crisper lines, but See, there's a little tiny little area of kind of a chip, but you can't see that with with the naked eye. Can't make it out. Then there's the UV again.
Yeah, there's like what's the customer can see and what can you see? Because we can see
Right.
way better than the customer can. The customer can look at something, you're like, that's amazing. You're like, no, you see this little spot right here that looks like crap right now.
And if I back that out a little bit, comes even less noticeable.
Oh yeah.
Because at that point they look very similar. So there's one fiber, UV. It's just
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
not a huge difference.
Yeah, like you said, especially the naked eye. Like the naked eye, that's what they're looking at. They're not going to be, you etch a
Right.
plaque or a trophy for somebody. They're going to be like, looking at it and be like, oh my God, I can see that one line that was not etched.
Yeah.
Pull out their jeweler's loop on you.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Just we're monocle inspecting your work.
We can see that, like, to the naked eye, to us, like engravers, you could probably see that naked eye. Be like, well, there's that one small, thing on the 5 that didn't etch properly. They just see, okay, that looks great. Compared to the stuff that I've done from, especially in the Air Force, they have stuff engraved all the time for awards, decorations, whatever, like things they get engraved. They can see it. They get it as an award. Actually, last weekend, I went to a car show here in my local area, and they give out plaques with engraved plates on the plaque. I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like garbage. I would never send something out that looks like that. But my, grandpa, what do you want to call him? Step grandpa, like he married my grandma. My grandpa, he's been my grandpa for 15 plus years now. He's like, that looks great. I got an award for what I did. My car looks awesome and I got this award. Like,
Right.
I'm glad you like that, but I would not send something out of my shop, my garage, whatever look like that. That looks like garbage to me.
We are our own worst critics. That is for sure.
100%.
There
Without a doubt.
are definitely people out there that probably do a worse job than you think that you do. Whether they're just getting started or they don't know what they're looking for.
Yep.
That's why we're
Let's
here.
see. Did anybody have any questions here recently?
I have not seen any
I haven't saw
questions
any.
for you.
Yes, Rich just made a great point. I put lots of links in the description to the 3 different sprayers, some paint. I wouldn't recommend that Crayola paint, but that'll get you in the ballpark of searching for the other temp paint there. But those are affiliate links, so if you click through and buy something, then that helps me out, obviously. How's that? So anyway, links are in the description to the 3 paint sprayers, the temporary paint. See, if you go to my shop on Amazon, you will see link to the microscope. I can put that in the description as well. I'll do that. So I'm going to re-upload this as an episode. I'll probably just cut out some of the filler stuff and fast forward through some of the demonstrations and mixings. But those links will stay there. Let's see. I do have a Patreon if you're interested. I have the link in the description for a donation link, or you can donate through YouTube, although they take 30% probably.
I think I'm still a patron.
But thank you,
Not
thank
sure.
you, Rich, for donating. I appreciate that. Let's see. This Lightburn file, I will make the link available in the description, and it has the different settings for all the lasers that Geo has graciously converted. I'll pop that back up on screen here just for a moment.
Vince Nobucks, how different will the settings be for a 30-watt JPT LPE versus a 30-watt Raycus?
Yeah, that's the LPE has a lower max pulse energy, but it can go to a higher frequency. I haven't calculated that one yet, so it's something I'd have to tinker with. I don't have my calculator in front of me.
Yeah, that was the 50 watt.
I'm looking at the settings on the screen right now. Just trying to run it through my head.
Trying to help all the people that are here in the live chat at least. We got 11 people still here. I'm one of those 11 people. So I'm assuming Patrick also one of the 11 people.
I am as well.
I'm not. I don't have it streaming.
It should be fairly close to the 30-watt Raycus. I can calculate it, and I'll throw it in the comments when Patrick makes this standalone video.
That will work.
Yes, so Vince, check the comments once we post the video. Hobo with Wood, huge thanks to Tyler for saving the day. I didn't save the day, but I tried to. I mean,
You made it happen.
Now. We made it happen. Thank you,
Yep.
Patrick and Tyler from ACL Holsters. Also, Geo for grappling the settings. LA Hobby Guy, thanks, Tyler. And a special thanks to Geo for conversion, not conversation files, so conversion files. ACL Holster says my 60 watt frequency was 252. I'm assuming for the 30 watt
Yep.
JPT versus 30 watt Raycus above.
Yeah, he has the 60 watt JPT. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have for tonight because I actually have to go work at the part-time job tomorrow. All right. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, wait till it's re-uploaded as an actual episode and drop your questions in the comment section there. Again, thanks for watching, and thanks again, Tyler, for helping out, and Gio for popping in. I'll talk to everyone later.
You're welcome. Thanks for the shout out.